inviting me here to have the most amazing opportunity to taste so many Turkish wines. This is my first time in Turkey, and probably the first time I've had the opportunity to taste such a wide variety of wines. I think the first thing has been a very professional event. I think the most amazing experience is being able to taste with lots of different people and being able to debate and discuss styles of wine. I find really inspiring, and also hopefully that's what you take away from these events, that you go back to your wineries and you go back to the people that you work with and can actually kind of inspire them to be passionate about wine as a product. That's why we're all here. Wine brings people together, and I think these opportunities are just, very privileged to be here, so thank you. I didn't really know what you wanted from me. I'm very commercial. I work with big retailers, and it's probably not where you want Turkish wines to head, but I just thought it would be quite useful for you to kind of have an insight of sort of what I take away from having tasted these wines. So from the whites, I think stylistically, I got the impression that there are lots of light, fresh, crisp wines out there. And for me, I'm always thinking about the end consumer and what I think you want to do. And certainly it's really interesting to hear that there's only 1 litre per capita drunk in a year. You think you have the climate and the tourism that you really want to capitalise that as a style for white wines. I think you have to be mindful of the competition. I come from probably the most competitive wine market in the world, based in the UK, and we're always worrying about the competition. It's on a global scale. And listening to people talk yesterday, there's a threat from people drinking beer, and you've got to think outside the wine category these days. And I think where your white wine style really fits is that really refreshing, crisp drink that people look for. I also think in the wines that I tasted, the oak isn't always your key indicator of quality. I think you have to be really careful in overusing oak to define your quality, because I do think the base quality and the climate you have here it is really lovely, and you need to kind of look to that. For me, and I think this may be just a lack of my personal knowledge, but Isa touched on it, is the lack of styles, really. They're all kind of quite clustered in the middle, and there aren't truly kind of wines that make you think, wow, that's really interesting, or that's really showing a kind of typicity from the region. So I think that's almost like another step on that the industry needs to make. The rosés were amazing, revelation, almost faultless flight, really beautiful colours, beautiful quality, and they're all under cork, which for me is just astounding, because oxidation, colour maintenance is really difficult to do. So I first applaud you in being able to do that under cork, but I secondly urge you to use and look for screw caps, because that is where the market is going, and it will do you huge favours to develop that technical skill to use that for whites and rosés especially. I know it's really difficult, and I know that probably the domestic market is resistant, but in the long run, you don't want to be playing a catch-up game technically when you realise in 20 years' time, like the Italians have, that you need screw cap. Reds, I struggled with the reds slightly in that I'm slightly unsure in what Turkish red wine means. I'm bowled over by the quality. It's not a negative, but I think your indigenous varieties really have beautiful character, and they're all quite unique, which I think is really a unique selling point that you can use within Turkey to draw people into the story. And as Christy said, no other country has these varieties, so you're on to almost a winning streak there. I also think once you start on the noble variety slope, it's quite a slippery one, because you're opening yourself up to huge expectation and competition. We taste Syrah or Shiraz from around the world, and people's expectations are that much higher. And again, you sort of slightly struggle in terms of quality and stylistic definition at the moment, but that's not saying that the quality isn't there for you to get there. The only other wine styles is that I think that you need to watch out for the higher alcohol slightly controversial Parker over oak styles. I think consumers are slightly moving away from that, and your consumers are probably wanting something a bit more refreshing and something that's not so hard to tackle. But I think overall it's been an amazing learning curve for me for 2 days, and on reflection I probably have lots of questions and want to learn a lot more about the Turkish wine industry. But please do come and talk to me and ask me any questions later, and thank you very much again.